Hey, dear YouTubers, this is Jean-Serge from GSM Instant Coaching, a channel dedicated to your happier relationships. And today I have something special I'd like to share with you, which is the interview that I had with Wim DEPUTTER. This is an interview I believe is very interesting because Wim is a very good teacher, is also a leader, and is also a father. He has so many different concepts that he is sharing with you and with me. Those concepts are not only interesting on the mats, but they're also interesting in the daily lives. So I believe you're going to enjoy them. And if so, then subscribe to my channel for many more. And also don't forget to share and to like. So, see you soon.
Recording?
I have the audio on, I have the video on, I have everything on.
Perfect.
I was listening to you. Let me turn the camera on.
Sorry?
I was watching you.
Okay. Ah, there. Ah, cool.
Yes,
Can you see me? Wait.
I am watching. I can see you now. This video I'm watching it several times, because there's so many things inside I need to understand and to go through
Yeah.
again and again and again and again. This is the place everything started with you.
Really? That's cool. That's cool.
Yes, with the mirroring concept. I was completely struck by it, and I told to myself, what is it, this mirroring concept that can explain everything in jiu-jitsu? So I'm happy to have you again. Last time we couldn't make it because of the technical problems.
Yeah.
I'm
Take
so
two.
glad that you accepted to do it this time again, and I am really happy to have this conversation with
No
you.
worries. No worries. It's gonna be completely different for sure. Because
Yeah.
my head is always different every day, so I don't know what will come out today, but we'll see where
So,
we end up.
okay, but let's first maybe start with the end of the first time. It was about your story. Tell us why it, and what struck me was the point that you mentioned, which was uh it's important to do in life what you love, and if you can't do it, do something that will help you to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So what I said was, in life, you either do what you like, or
Yeah.
you do something which allows you to do what you like.
Yeah.
And it also means like, okay, like here in Western Europe, especially in Belgium, we're
Mhm.
quite, we're like Belgium, England, France, this part of the world. We're very
Yes.
fortunate in a way because it's we have a luxury here. Like everybody has food, we have healthcare, and even if we don't have food or money, the government will still give it us. So
Yeah.
given our part in the world, then it should be at least do what you love, and if you, and or at least do something that allows you to do what you love.
Mhm.
If you have the luxury of having that freedom, I would say. So
Okay.
that's true.
I think that was a great place to start again, because that was
Yeah.
very striking to me. So we are privileged. I watched a video last time about Rickson telling to some people in Japan that they were also privileged, as in comparison to all the people outside the BJJ, because they were
Yeah.
doing competition. But in the other way, they were in a box because they were only doing competition. What is your
Yeah.
point about that, for example?
About sports jiu-jitsu for self-defense jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You mean? Well, huh, this is an interesting topic. So first of all, I don't think both are mutually exclusive. I
Mhm.
don't think if you are well, you can probably have a style of sports jiu-jitsu which is less favorable on the street. If you always pull guard, that's your to-go move, always pulling guard, never doing any stand-up, then yes, it's not gonna be ideal for on the street, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
because you pull guard. In another way, look, well, I can take this from many angles. So in another way, if you only do the problem is this: look, if you only do self-defense sports, like you do like Aikido, or you do Wing Chun, or God forbid you do Krav Maga, you know, and you only focus on self-defense. The problem with those sports is that it's either too soft or too rough to train, and if you cannot simulate at least like a little bit of a real fight on training, then it's impossible to also use this on the street. You have to fight all the time. But then again, sometimes sports is like quite far away from reality.
Mm.
And let's be honest, look, uh, competition is good because you learn to fight with a time pressure against fully reactive opponents. But so yeah, you're probably going to be better off than people who don't compete at all. But you have to see what style do you train. So what I said, look, in what way can sports jiu-jitsu be worse for competition? Let's say if I'm a fighter and I'm very cocky,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because sport, not always, but some sports guys can be cocky. If I'm running out of on the street and like very cocky, the same attitude, and I'm gonna do a competition, I might end up getting into more fights than I had to do to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Understand?
Yes, I understand. Because
Look, yeah.
the ethics in the training sessions are not the same on the streets. Also, they're not only. It's not only about techniques on the street. It's also about mindset. And if you're cocky in your competition, etc., it means something in competition which does not translate into streets and streets adventure, etc.
True, but look, it's also like on the street there is punches and basically everything goes. But that's
Yes,
not also not fully true because
unpredictable things. Yes.
yeah, but that's not fully true because there is certain degrees to a street fight. A
Mm-hmm.
street fight does usually not go from 0 to 100. Look,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk self-defense completely. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
let's go point one. Okay, so what is the difference between sports and between self-defense?
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, what is the difference between between sports and self-defense? How would you answer this?
uh, Sport jiu-jitsu and sport and self-defense. In sport
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu, there are rules, and their main focus would. I train in a sport jiu-jitsu environment, so
yeah,
only focusing on techniques, points, time setting, and not really focusing about on punches, on
okay.
dangers that could occur when in a situation where the fight goes around between two humans. No,
Yeah, look, so
only rules.
the way I see it,
Yeah,
rules is different because look, IBJJF has these rules, ABI has these rules,
yeah.
and even on the street there are rules. Even on the street there are rules. It
Okay,
just
how
doesn't.
do you define those rules in the
Oh, I
street?
will tell. I will tell. Look, in a sport environment are rules. It's
Yeah,
not guaranteed everybody is gonna follow the rules, but
okay.
most likely people are gonna follow the rules in sports.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on the street, there are certain rules, but it's less likely people are gonna follow those rules. You know. But usually, let's say, it depends on the situation. If you were a
Really
kid,
interesting. What do you mean by rules on the street? Can you just elaborate on that?
there is rules of engagement. Like let's say, but it's not. Let me explain. Look, it's like
Yeah.
this. I have been quite a few times in a street fight on the street, but I've
Okay.
never been in the point where somebody tries to like. And I mean, in street fight, I mean me. It's like only 15 years ago when I was in the, like still going out, and a guy tries to punch me. This happened. But never in my life has anyone tried to gouge my eyes. Never has anyone pulled a knife and tried to stab me. Never has anyone tried to bite me. So in a way, I still see if you're on the street right now and someone just tries to punch you, for me it's still sports. It's sport. It's a bit of a rough sport and it's a bit dangerous. Uh, and most street fight, let's say one guy gets punched down because it's about ego, and it's not because the guy falls down that we're gonna start kicking him on his face. You know what I mean? There's
Okay.
still gradations in street fight,
Okay.
so you have to think about that. let's say this. Look, the main difference between sports and defense is this: the goal in sports in general, and in
Yeah.
sports jiu-jitsu in particular, is the goal in sports is you try to win against your
Win.
opponent.
Yes.
If you're in football, you try to win by making
Trying
more
to win.
points.
Yes.
Yeah. If you go into in a boxing match, you're trying to score more by giving
Score
punches
more
to try
points.
the guy
Yes.
knock the guy out or
Yeah.
win. There's different conditions how we can win, but the goal of sports is always to
Is
win.
to win. Yes.
Yeah. If you do a sport and don't want to win, well, no. If you compete and you don't want to win, then you should not be competing. You should
Okay.
not be crying if you lose.
Hmm.
You should be, but you should not be okay losing. You should try to win, I believe.
Mm.
Now, what is the goal on the street? In the street, the goal is not to lose. That's a completely different thing. If you compare it to swimming,
Hmm.
if you see swimming as a sport,
Yeah.
you try to be the most beautiful style swimmer. That would be style competition. Or you can have a competition in swimming where I want to be the first across to the other side of the swimming pool. That
Yes.
is a race.
Hmm.
Or you can do self-defense swimming. But in self-defense swimming, make sure you don't drown. How long? Well, until you either manage to save yourself out of the water or before anyone picks you out of the water. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
self-defense is the same. How long do you have to not lose? Well, until the other guy stops, until he's tired, until he makes a stupid mistake that you can use to defeat him,
Hmm.
or until someone else comes in between, or till the guy runs away. That's always how it is, you know.
Okay.
And so, what is easier, self-defense or sports?
Hmm. Because we don't train every day on the street. We don't
Yeah,
train, and everything is so much different all the times in the street. We cannot set a proper environment to train the street in somewhere. So,
I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree.
okay,
I don't agree. Every human has two legs and two arms and a
okay,
one head, and there's only so many ways a person can move. You know.
okay,
And in a fight where there's a lot of distance between us, like a lot of distance, then
yeah,
both of our bodies are free to move however they like. But neither one of us can influence the other. But once we have contact, you know, or the way people make contact, it's only in a certain number of ways. And yes, there is like two ways. A person can go full kamikaze, full berserk, like crazy, and then you have to maintain your cool, protect from strikes, make like put your hands in your around your face, take cover until you can close the distance or until you can get away, right? And once you've closed the distance and the guy keeps going berserk, and he's just gonna tire himself out, and in the end make it easy for you to win because he's gonna tire himself out. You
mm.
know, you cannot keep doing this forever.
But what do you
And
think about, for example, the environment? Maybe let's talk, for example, about the clothes that we wear. You have a jacket, you have a bag, you're
of
in the
course,
street, you have some keys on the back pockets. When you fall down, you have the concrete feeling that you don't have so often. All that variables that can play in and that
well,
are always different.
okay,
What do you
but
think
you have
about
to,
those?
okay, well, you have to rule number rule number one in self-defense is this, I think. Don't do stupid things with stupid people in stupid places at stupid times. Right? So you are everybody's a free person to go wherever he likes, wherever he wants to go, right?
Like,
But I
yeah,
don't think it's smart to go with your fancy clothes in the middle of the night to a park in a shady district of the town because then you can get trouble. You know what I mean? If
yes,
you happen to go with your tight jeans and your big tight jacket,
yeah.
big tight fancy jacket, you know, and your cell phone in your pocket, going alone in the park, and you get engaged by five guys, most likely gonna lose. And if it's one guy, you're also not in good odds, you know. So
Mm,
stay away from there.
mm.
And the thing is, most fights can be avoided if you use common sense. See,
Yes, of course, of
if you go,
course.
yeah,
You agree? Yeah.
most, not all, because that would be also not fair.
Mm,
But most can be avoided if you use common sense.
yes.
And and those few fights, like the most dangerous fights you can what is the most dangerous situations? You go to a favela, you know, you go to a shady street out of in town. You that's usually when we're alone, you know, and you just have to use common sense. Like if you have like a sense tingling, we should not be around here in the or should be doing this here, then maybe we shouldn't do that, you
Hmm.
know. And what else was I gonna say? Um,
you're talking about the common sense. What
Yeah.
if
So
when
if you
it's
use common sense, yeah. Look,
yes,
most people. So the most unwinnable situations would be in a park, 2 versus 1, places where you are alone. Okay,
hmm
um, or, or in your house and a burglar comes in. Okay, that can happen. But usually when someone breaks in, for example, he doesn't want to kill you. He's there for money. So
yes,
give
of
him
course,
what he wants, and
Mhm.
and that's it.
And you
So
very weird. Yes,
those situations where we get in where we have to defend ourselves might be when we're going out, traffic aggression, all those things. It's
Mm.
not really people wanting to fight. It's just ego versus ego,
Yes,
you know.
yes,
And even this is usually avoidable by looking not intimidated. And how can you look not intimidated? Well,
Mm.
it's hard to not be intimidated if you don't know any martial arts. But if you're comfortable,
Yeah.
with big sweaty guys in the gym and getting
Mhm.
crushed over there, then you're also more comfortable having just a conversation with someone or
Yeah.
a discussion.
So it's really the question of psychological disposition.
Yeah,
It's the
no, not
psychological training first before anything happens. For all these fights that can be avoidable on the streets,
well, not it's not
all
fully
about
avoidable. Yeah,
for
it's
most
not.
of them that could be avoided on the streets. It's
Yeah,
a mental game after
yeah,
all.
it's like, look, last time I also told, look, you can be three things in life. You can be a pudding, you can be a wall, and you can be a
Oh,
battering
oh,
ram.
that's your last episode.
Exactly. Pudding, wall, and battering ram. And what do I mean with this? A pudding is a person like uh like someone who does not stand for himself, who does
Yeah,
not have frames in his arms, who
mhm.
feels weak. But if you look him in the eye, he will look away. If you
Yeah,
come close, he will back off. That's a pudding. You
yeah,
know.
mm,
Then a battering ram is the complete opposite. It's someone who always goes forward, and I'm gonna go hard, and I'm gonna punch him, and he goes super off. And he also doesn't have frames. He pushes people away. You
mhm,
know, both pudding and battering ram. What is the problem? Well, puddings are gonna come more into trouble because they're gonna get bullied. They depend on pity of people. Like, people will either bully them or not bully them out of pity. And
mm.
I don't want to be living with pity. And a battering ram, he intimidates people, and people are gonna leave him alone because they know better. Or every once in a while, there's gonna be someone who's a bigger bully, and gonna crush, gonna like bump heads with each other, and then the weakest one will break. So if you go out as a battering ram, then you also will come in into more trouble,
Mm.
right?
Right.
And both pudding and battering ram have the same problem. The problem is they do not control distance.
Mhm.
You know, if
Okay.
you come to me, I don't have frames, or my frames are weak, and you push through them, you get too close right
Mhm.
away. And if I always push you away, push you away, push you away, then okay, it's also not distance control because I push you, you come right away back. You know. So I always use the image of a wall. A wall does not push, does not pull. A wall just is. A wall connects. If you
Connect.
push
Yeah.
against the wall pushes equally hard back. And
Mm.
if you pull the wall pulls equally hard back.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the image. So if someone wants to starts to bully you, and say like, no, please, I don't want to fight. I don't want you to hurt me. Please don't. I am gonna hurt you. No, I don't want it. Please. And I'm gonna. That's what a bully does. You
Okay.
know. And a battering Sam's. Oh, what are you gonna do? What's your problem? And then you start yelling, and it escalates. You know.
Yeah.
And a
Mm.
wall says, please, man, sorry. No, look, I don't want to fight. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry that I bumped into you. I apologize. Back off. I don't want to fight. But the mindset is different.
Mm.
Battering ram wants to over intimidate. A pudding doesn't want to fight out of
Back off.
fear.
Yes.
Yeah, and a
And the
wall.
wall stay neutral. Neutral.
Yeah, and a wall says, I don't want to fight. I just don't. I'm not afraid of fighting, and I will fight if I have to. But I don't want to fight.
Mm.
That's it.
Mm.
Now
Yes.
look. Let's say you behave like a wall,
Yeah.
and a person starts booming into you, and you control, like you clinch, you hug, say,
Mm.
man, calm down, I don't want to fight, let's calm down. How many people will continue the fight? Only people who are really inclined to hurt you.
Yeah.
And this means you already pissed at, like, I don't know anyone in the world who I pissed already off so much that it really wants to punch me after I apologize and stay, hey man, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm.
That's
And
right.
there's two options. Yeah.
It
That person
doesn't
can go
happen
harder and
very
harder
often.
and harder
That
and
doesn't happen very often. Yes, you're right.
yeah, exactly. it can often, when you look someone in the eyes and you keep looking, "Hey, what's your problem?" Then it can happen. But even after that, if you apologize, then it's okay.
Not
Right?
everything is
Usually.
okay. Yes.
Now, once we're clinching and the guy keeps going harder and harder and harder and harder, he will tire himself out, and that's it.
Yes.
Or he makes a mistake. And exactly so what do sports and self-defense have in common? Look, when I play sports jiu-jitsu, okay, I choose to use techniques or a certain sets of moves. It's not like 80% of the time, I do moves which would be viable in both street and self-defense, street and sports.
Okay.
80%
I
of the time.
noticed that in your seminars, you always lay the emphasis on punches when you explain techniques. You don't
Yeah.
only do sport
No.
jiu-jitsu stricto sensus. You talk about punches. You talk about everything all the times.
It's like the guy who says the best is Chris Houter. Think
It's all that.
street, train sports. Think street, train sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. So train as realistic as possible, but don't forget, like full street with eye gouges and biting, it's untrainable. That's the mistake Krav Maga makes. So that's untrainable. So we focus on, we go as close to reality that smart people with with normal lives can still train as violent as possible without hurting each other. You know. So
Yeah.
when I'm on, look, when I'm competing, for example, I completely follow self-defense. I go in first. I control my breathing. I breathe in, breathe out, four breaths in, 4 times in, 4 times out. You know, so your heart rate is low, and you start already going to in a neutral state into the fight. If you go like this, you're going in like battering ram mode or in panic mode. That's not good. You got to go into the fight not caring about the outcome. That's the ideal. And once you're inside, then you fight for your first grips. And once you have your grips, then you decide top or bottom. Street fight I would stay on top usually. I would say. Then again, even a lighter woman in her house having to defend herself or have a heavier man, it can be strategically more advantage for her to pull guard and to stay than to get punched down. You know, so sometimes even on the street or in self-defense, taking guard first might be an option. I believe. But then,
An
okay,
option on the street.
yeah, I will talk more about that later. Okay, but on
Okay.
competition now, look on competition. What do I think? Look, I think okay, I'm gonna not make mistakes and I'm gonna try to make the first point. Once I made the first point, well, first actually I listen to the opponent's breathing. If he starts breathing faster, I know okay, look, this guy is gonna move first. So I just have to prepare myself, and then he moves, and then I use that motion. That's how it is. And if the person breathes calm, then you have trouble. Then you know, okay, I cannot read this person.
Okay.
So but once you have made the first point, the guy has to engage. You have to hide the stalling part so you don't get penalized. But you can wait a little bit, you know. And the more
Okay.
the guy is behind, the more time starts to run out, the more he's got to engage.
Okay.
And then it becomes like more like a street fight, you know, because he has to go faster and faster and faster, and you can just maintain distance and use his mistakes and tire him out. Right?
Okay.
Every time I'm behind on points, you know, if I'm behind on points on competition, let's say I'm mounted 1 minute ago, that's when I imagine a street fight. I'm in the street, like 1 versus 1 on the street. I have all the time in the world, no problem. But you never know if it stays 1 versus 1. If I'm mounted 1 versus 1, I can take all the time. But if all of a sudden you see these two friends start running towards you, so you
Yes.
gotta get out and make sure. That's
That's
like me
different.
losing on points. I got 30 seconds to get out and get
Okay.
away. You know? But let's say also this: if you think about street, okay, let's divide jiu-jitsu in a few skills. You can, well, it's more than that. But let's say jiu-jitsu is a guard retention, is escapes, is survival, is takedowns, is sweeps, and is guard passing. What is the least and submissions? What is the least valuable skill in the whole bunch?
The least available skills.
What is the skill you need less?
Wow. Let me think it over. Submissions. I believe submissions.
Well, yeah, yeah. Submissions you rarely need actually.
Yeah.
Well, might be. But like on the street, from on the street, if you have an arm bar, would it be smart to break a guy's arm?
Wow.
No, like just from your like from a selfish perspective, not thinking about law and everything, not thinking about the other guy. Is it smart for in self-defense for your own well-being to break a guy's arm?
But the arm is fully controlled, and the man cannot move anymore.
Yeah,
Depending on the situation, are there many people? Is it alone, etc.? I will not go just fully to break his arm. I will see the situation. The important he is control. He's under my control. So uh, for
yeah.
me,
Look, if I,
not a necessity to break the arm, but I
no, but
control.
yeah,
I have
true.
all
But look,
control.
if I'm on the street and I have an arm
Yeah.
and I see a second guy coming, I'm gonna break the
If
arm.
I see a second guy
Yeah,
coming, that's different.
hypothetical, right?
Well,
But why is the
if I
main
am
reason I don't want
alone
to break?
with the guy and there is no other danger, I can just control and see what's happening,
Yeah,
and keep watching the surroundings. But if
yeah,
there is another guy or two or three or more people, then
yeah.
I have to do something to eliminate one, at least to gain some step ahead. Yes.
The thing is, look, why I wouldn't break is, well, first, I'm not the guy who wants to hurt other people, but the main reason is once you break the person's arm, he's
Yes.
free again. You don't give him any option. If you put a rat into the corner, if you put a rat in a trap and don't
Yes.
give the rat any option, the rat will bite his own paw. If you start breaking someone's arm, it's like the guy's not gonna stop fighting. He's gonna panic,
Yes.
and if he panics, he might injure you and he might do something to you. So actually, I want the person I'm fighting with to be very calm. Oh, please calm down, sir. Calm down. Calm down. You're okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. Just calm down. Just calm down. Now, the ideal of self-defense is a choke, of course. But that's situational, a choke. If the guy gives the guy his back, okay, good. Let's say I can mount someone in a street fight, control the hands, make sure you don't get bitten, make sure you don't get gouged. Just
Mhm.
control the hands and calm the person down is great. You know, that's what I would aim for in a street fight.
Okay.
Calm down. And also, if you start punching the guy or breaking his arm, highly likely bystanders will pull you off. But if you show restraint and that you're calm, just control the guy, I think bystanders are less likely to engage and maybe help you out, call the cops or whatever. You know.
Okay.
So and then look, and that's the main thing. Look now more about this battering ram pudding and wall thing. So a wall means you have like a certain aura. You have straight shoulders. You stand there nice. You look forward. You know, and you look not intimidated.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Now, in the beginning, you can fake this. You can fake even without any martial arts skill. A good actor can probably fake confidence, but it's very hard. You know,
Mhm.
and confidence and skill is a very vicious circle. You know, you can
Mhm.
have skill and then it will build confidence, and because you have confidence in your skill becomes better. It's a vicious circle. But let's say it's very look, if two people talk to each other and
Yes.
I'm a 120 kilo strong guy, right, and my opponent is a 60 kilo weak person who doesn't know any self-defense, I
Yes.
am always right. Even if what I'm saying is wrong, I can bully the guy and I'm right. Because
Yes.
in the end, if I win, I can always use the fists.
Yes.
So with that mindset, knowing that the guy can always overpower you, it's very hard to be convincing in your arguments.
Mhm.
So we train and we train on the mat and we have to be comfortable with a 120 kilo sweaty guy like breathing in our neck and trying to choke us. If we're comfortable there, can keep our cool there and try to get out step by step, then we don't have to be afraid either if the same guy stands in front of us and is trying to have a discussion with us, and we can confidently
And we
say
can
no.
be
Now,
confident and have yes.
so mostly a wall.
Yeah.
Everything in life is always about balance, and the balance is the middle.
Okay.
But does this mean we never should be a pudding or never be a battering ram? No, sometimes you want to be a pudding as well. If
Yeah.
someone pulls a knife on you or a gun and
Yeah.
say, "I'm sorry, sir, I'm sorry. What do you want? What do you want? Money? Here it is." You know. Or when do you want to be a battering ram? Well,
Mm.
in the rare situation where you became into a park and someone attacks you,
Mm.
you better start pushing and violently kick and whatever you want and start running away because there might be two of them. You gotta get away, you
Yeah.
know. But usually, if you use common sense,
Mm.
you know, you should be in a situation where there is at least supervision, like school or work or street, everyday street in public. There is like some sense of other people look into us, you know.
Okay.
Then we can always use the image of the wall. Now look, if I'm always erecting like a battering ram, someone comes to me, what's your problem? What is your problem? And you push the guy, and then the other guy pulls a knife. No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Maybe you already pissed the guy off so much that he will not be able to be calmed down anymore. You can always increase the energy. Escalating is very easy. It's
Yes.
de-escalating that is hard.
This is the
Yeah,
problem.
and if you're always a pudding, and all of a sudden stand up for yourself, then the
Yes.
people will not respect this either. It's very hard. They have to go over the top. But if
Mm.
you're a wall, man, I don't want to fight. I really don't want to fight. They pulls a knife. I'm sorry. I said I really do not want to fight.
Mm.
What do you want? I don't want to fight, man. And I'm not gonna say it's easy to apologize as a wall, and as a wall it's
Or
also easy to switch to
to
battering ram.
escalate. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because
but
you're
but
in a neutral place. Yes, you can
we
move
have to be in a
or you
neutral
can move
place.
down.
That's
Okay.
it. That's what everything is about. Yin
Okay.
yang, mindfulness,
Yeah.
whatever. It's about the moment. It's
Yes.
always about that.
Is it
That's it.
something that you teach most of the time in your in Brazza team? Is it something that which is you lay emphasis on even for beginners or for
Yeah.
advanced? You always talk about this.
Well, look, I have fundamental class and I have advanced classes, and I'm gonna tell you like this. Look, last time I told you about structure and order. Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So structure and order. In a sense, I have fundamental classes and I
Yes.
have regular classes. And at this point in my life, I never came to the point where I wrote like a study curriculum.
Hmm.
Like we're gonna do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Like the Grace University, they
Yes.
like with the competitors and everything, they have like a very steady curriculum, and I can see the merit in that. I can definitely see the merit, like in
Also,
we have
Eddie
these,
Bravo does that.
we have this structure,
Yes.
but you should also, and I'm not saying those guys don't do it because I never train with them. Probably they have like a structure and also a sense of creativity and chaos to read away from that.
Yeah.
But I think we should have like order but chaos around, so we can have a structure but freedom to work around that. So my classes, I have a general sense what
So
I want
you
to show
mean
the people.
structure and chaos inside or structure or chaos
No,
around? What?
structure as a guideline
Yeah.
and chaos,
Inside.
creativeness and art, creativity to work to structure chaos,
Okay.
to be able to do your own thing within a certain limits
Okay. Okay.
provide us, because
Okay.
look, we cannot gouge eyes. You should not push, you should not pull. Minimum effort, maximum efficiency. Follow that, and then okay, certain positions we teach, and okay. So in any case, yes, I do teach those things, but I don't have like okay, now I'm gonna teach breathing. Now I'm gonna teach this. So ideally, when a person comes into the first class, it's
Yes.
exactly like swimming. How do you teach swimming to a complete beginner? So and then would be okay. First
Relaxation.
of all, you go into the water
Yeah.
and you do not panic. You play in the water a bit, you play games, and make sure you like spending time in the water.
Mm.
The second thing would be breathe into the water. Learn how to breathe. Learn how not to get tired in your game. So breathe in above water and breathe out underneath the water.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna start learning how to float. What is floating? Floating is the 0 point, like trying to get as close to doing nothing as possible. If you do absolutely nothing, you will go underneath. Only a plank can do completely nothing and stay up. But actually, if we control our breathing, we can actually stay afloat, like we just move our hands and feet a little bit. That's the next thing. So okay, we can now stay that, and we can also do like water kicking, like that you stay up, just using hands and foot. That would be the next thing, and then you breathe. Okay. After this, we're gonna learn how to move into the water, go back and forth, and like breaststroke and crawl and back crawl and all those things. Yeah. And after you did that, then you can start introducing sports and say, okay, now we're gonna time our breathing with our movement. You choose the same thing. The first time a person comes in, usually or all of times, they go absolutely berserk. They go chaotic
Yes.
and they tire themselves, and they're actually a dangerous training partner.
Yeah.
And I always, when someone new comes in, I make a point about it that either I go with him or one of my best guys. Because I believe if a person comes in and I am not able to roll with that new person, I cannot ask it from my students either. You know,
Okay.
I'm the first line of defense for him. I'm responsible for him then not getting hurt. It's either me or one of the guys, like another black belt, which I really trust. Okay, good. So when the first role I do with this guy, when a person comes in, I will not even give the guy a special class. I'm not going to cater my whole class to a guy who comes the first time in. But at the very least, I'm going to give him like a conversation. Like, look, man, you come inside here. I'm not
What
going
would
to cater my class to you
what would
today.
be this
Sorry.
conversation about?
Okay, I would say, look, welcome here. You're welcome. Look, this is your first experience. There's a
Yes.
lot of things you will leave here with a lot of questions. You know, it
Yes.
is. It is. Don't worry. Everybody was there at the first time. All I can tell you is, look, try to uh, be calm, uh, absorb as much as possible, and don't get stressed if you don't know it, if you don't remember. It's normal. Second class, if you come back, I will give you more explanation. Okay, and I just let them do the class, whatever it is. Okay,
Okay.
and
And the
and
guy
then
is allowed to do the role, for example. He can experience rolling the first time he comes.
I never teach roles. I never do that.
You
No,
never do that? Why?
because I mostly teach people to throw controlled, and so far I believe like I never had any injuries in people falling badly. Never had. I teach people attack controlled, and then when I teach them to attack controlled, then the rest becomes less important. Okay, sometimes I do like back rolls every once in a while, but I don't do this 20 minutes running around the mat and those things. No, I don't do. Sometimes front rolls and back rolls in the wrestling class, and we do it a bit, but I'm not gonna do this every time. I usually don't warm up. I go straight into technique, and if I do a warm up, it's specific to the technique of today.
Okay.
But in any case, when I roll with that guy, look, if the guy goes very hard,
Yes.
I just make him like I go super calm. I let himself get tired, and in the end, okay, maybe or maybe I don't tap him. Maybe I just mount him and smother him a bit and feel okay, man. Look, if you go heavy, you will just kill yourself, you know. So calm down, okay.
Mm.
And then he learns from experience. You know?
Okay.
So, but in an ideal world, probably like I would first teach people breathing, but I teach a lot of during roles. You know, like during the roles, I make sure I roll with most of my people like every week once, and then I tell, okay, look, calm down, and breathe and relax and framing and connection. That's the first things you always need. But
Mm.
but look, but also like right now, um, I've been doing this for like quite a few years, my school, you know. So and most of my guys, they know the idea of connection. They know the ideas of relaxing and breathing properly. So they also educate new people during the roles. And
Okay.
all my guys, my advanced guys, you know, most of my guys are educated in the fact that the first round, when a new person comes in, you have
Yes.
to treat him like a mirror. Look, you
Okay.
know,
The mirror.
actually not a mirror, not fully. Look, if a guy comes in
Yes.
going super berserk, be a wall. Let him tire himself out, and make sure he learns by experience to calm down. And if the guy goes more like a pudding, not engaging, okay, maybe then tell them, okay, engage a little bit. Puddings are the hardest to teach.
Why is it so that I believe because when I first came in a BJJ class, I was completely lost.
Hmm.
Some people believe that a beginner, a white belt, should not roll before 6 months or 8 months,
Yeah.
etc.
In a,
Some
in a,
other
in a,
things they
well,
should
yeah.
roll the first time. Why is
It's
it so? Why some people think they shouldn't, and why some other think
easy
they
to
should?
explain. Easy to explain. In an ideal world, like Grace University, I believe, they don't let people roll until their second stripe. And they're completely right in that.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to do. But you gotta think about this. Look, people come to a class with a certain expectation, and the expectation is, okay, I'm going to a gym, and I'm gonna sweat, and I'm gonna fight. That's the expectation people have when they go to a BJJ class. Maybe it's like CrossFit, you know. It's just like CrossFit. I go to a CrossFit
Let
gym, and
me tell you about my experience. I was doing Aikido for several months. Aikido, maybe you know Aikido. I don't know if you know Aikido. It's a
yeah, I know, yeah.
self-defense, but I was not satisfied with the techniques, etc. I kept asking me question. What is it about the truth in true fight with between two human beings? And then I've discovered BJJ as a place where I could uh, satisfy my questioning. Then I came there for the first time, not because I wanted to have some sport, some training, but because I wanted to have some answers to my questions about fighting, not because I wanted to
Okay.
be
Freeze right there. Freeze right there.
yeah.
Why didn't you like Aikido?
Why
I
didn't
will,
I like
I will tell you in one sentence. I will tell you in one sentence. Because it's too much. Because it's too much order, right? You cannot
yes,
ask questions.
hierarchy,
This,
yes,
this
hierarchy,
is structure. No questions asked. This is structure. It
yes,
loses the art. It's not art anymore because it's everything, everybody the same thing. Okay, no questions asked.
no
Why
question.
do I not like? Why don't people? Why should you not like Krav Maga? Because it's only chaos. Go, 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 go. Right? Yes. Bad gyms. Harder, 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 harder. Yeah, puke. Yeah, go harder. That's chaos. What is
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu, good Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the exact mix
good
between
Brazilian
order
jiu-jitsu.
and chaos. Good sports.
Because you
Even
told
boxing.
last time not all the BJJ practitioners practice BJJ. You told it last time.
That is true. But let's go, let's into that topic because we always keep switching topics, and I want to finish this thought
Yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah.
So where was I before you started talking about this?
Aikido. I start talking because the reason why somebody will come
Ah, yeah.
uh,
Okay, look. So
in a
yeah.
team.
So we were there. Look. So look. If I have a CrossFit gym, for example, okay, the smartest thing would be so you expect high intensity. Okay, if you go to a CrossFit, you expect high intensity working out with weights. If you go to a martial arts class, you expect as a beginner high intensity work with another person, right? Now, high intensity is always more dangerous if your technique is not properly, but
Yes.
it's more fun, right? Then again, just doing techniques is boring. So you have to see what a person is a bit, you know. If it's like a weaker person who I think is going to injure himself, maybe I will not let him roll the first few times.
Okay.
Okay, in theory. But what I prefer to do is look, the person can roll the first time, but I will never put a beginner with someone who knows who he knows can injure him. The main reason is I want to have people have a fun experience right away. I want to know what jiu-jitsu is about and feel what jiu-jitsu. And you can only feel by going into the water, by starting to fight. And I let beginners, like if people come in the beginning, okay, you go with him, you go with him, you go with him. I never let complete beginners choose their partner. In
Okay.
the fundamentals class, I do let beginners choose, but then I'm not rolling myself. Then I'm keeping an eye on supervising that it goes calm, but I don't. And okay, look, occasionally accidents happen. It's sports. Accidents are allowed to happen, you know,
Mhm.
but it should not be like the regular thing, you know.
Mm.
So like freak accidents can always happen, but my job as a coach is to keep that as a bare at a bare minimum.
Mhm.
Yeah, look, so I'll also told last time. Look, is this I compare like what I said. What is the relationship between gymnastics, yoga, jiu-jitsu, and weightlifting? Look, so yoga, no, gymnastics and calisthenics is the art of moving yourself as economically as possible in relationship to your own body and the gravity,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
calisthenics can be that, and gymnastics also in relationship to a certain changing gravity, because it can be rings, it can be a pole, like in relationship to a certain object, but
Mhm.
mostly your own body if it's just you on the mat
Mhm.
doing gymnastics. Yoga is moving your own body as economically as possible in relationship to your own breathing.
Mm.
Now, good gymnastics also incorporate a part of yoga, meaning you have to have good breathing,
Good breathing.
right? Yeah. Then weightlifting is the art of moving yourself. No, yeah, is the art of moving yourself as economically as possible in relationship to a static weight. I have to move the bar up and down, the weight up and down. Like always to unchanging gravity. You know.
Mm.
So that is a step. Okay, that is weightlifting. Jiu-jitsu is the art of moving yourself as economically as possible in relationship to a dynamic movement, to a dynamic object. A dynamic object being your partner.
Your
Now,
opponent.
yeah, your opponent. So it also incorporates yoga because you have to have proper breathing. Like
Probably.
if every film you see on YouTube about Rickson Gracie talking, he always talks about breathing,
Maybe. Yeah.
breathing, breathing, breathing,
Mm,
breathing, breathing.
yes, that's
If
right.
you look at yoga video, what do they teach you? Breathing, 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 breathing. Swimming, I have many years experience as a swimming teacher. First, don't panic. Secondly, panicking and breathing is a vicious circle. Because if you're panicking, you breathe like that. If you're
Mm.
tired, you breathe like that. But what is first, the chicken or the egg? Are you breathing fast because you're tired and panicking, or are you panicking because you're breathing fast? They both interact with each other. If you go, you start getting emotional and drowsy right away, right? So that is the basic, behave and be comfortable in your own body. How can you be comfortable fighting with another person if you cannot even be uh, if you cannot even be relaxed and
Comfortable.
comfortable in your own body, right?
Normal
So this
body.
also comes with healthy lifestyle. If a person if a person is like a very unhealthy or very overweight, let's say because of bad food and everything,
Mm.
it's going to be very hard to do jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is minimal effort, maximum efficiency. Means also in food, you choose the food that gives like the the best like the best ratio of calories and healthy things. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you can never eat like French fries or chocolate because we need chaos in the order, like I said.
Yes.
But it should be the basic should be healthy. Right? So
Mm.
now then, if you think weightlifting is weightlifting dangerous? Well, high intensity weightlifting is dangerous, very dangerous
Mm.
if you do it with wrong posture. What is the first thing you need to learn in weightlifting? Breathing. Secondly, posture, because posture and breathing also go together. If you are doing a squat, for example, with a bent spine, you can do this for a few years, and you can do this for a few years, and it's going to be okay until it's not okay anymore. I believe, for example, this that every person has the capacity to do maybe 1 million good 1 million reps of good squats in his life.
Mm.
1 million. And every time you use it, like everybody's going to get old, your body is going to deteriorate, you're going to use your own body. It's not going to be good forever. But
Mm.
if you use it properly, you can at least slow down that aging process.
Mm.
But if you every time you start squatting with a bent spine, maybe instead of using 1 rep, you're losing 100 or 1,000 reps, and that hernia is going to come faster. You know.
Mm.
So let's say we do the and low intensity weight training would be the way with low weights, huh? And slowly would be the way you learn your posture. You know. Then in jiu-jitsu, let's say if squatting is already dangerous
Yes.
with a bad spine. Imagine now how dangerous squatting would be if you do the squat and every once in a while a person runs by and gives you a push in the fitness. That doesn't happen. But in
Yes. Yes.
jiu-jitsu, that exactly happens.
Yes.
Sometimes we're in a squat, the guy pulls, we switch to a lunge, and we keep switching. And if the guy goes faster or harder, then the odds of us making a mistake happen faster. Yeah.
Yes.
How do people break themselves when they fall? They fall on their wrist. Oh, you shouldn't fall on your wrist. Yeah, but it's my reflex. So we should always. So I believe a beginner
Yeah.
should be allowed to roll from first day when they're not panicking, when they're breathing properly, because they need to experience and to make it fun, right? But we should be responsible as a coach to either go with them ourselves, eh? And to teach them a lesson in a soft way. Never teach a lesson, oh, we're going to break their arm. Because if you go hard, and then the person thinks, so the coach go hard, so you have to go hard as well. We have to set the example. Be the unmovable wall who always breathes, who doesn't budge, but who doesn't go hard either.
Mm.
And set the example. And protect
Which.
beginners, protect beginners of injuring themselves. And then I always give the guideline to everybody in the gym.
Mm.
First, make sure you don't injure your partner, and then make sure you don't injure yourself. And everybody thinks about those two things in that order, and the gym is safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That leads us to the environment and the atmosphere in the gym. Is it
Exactly.
something, the prevention of injuries, is it something that you lay particularly emphasis on?
Of course, the
System?
first thing I always do in every technique I teach is always connection. So be tight, and then be tight against your partner. Be an immovable wall. That's connection, right? And then learn how to
Because
move your own
because of
body.
the injury prevention also?
And yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So
Okay.
look, so if I'm loose, let's say my neck is relaxed, and someone
Yeah.
snaps my neck, now I injure myself, you know.
Yeah.
But if my neck is tight, I give myself the best chance to withstand whatever comes, you know.
Okay. Mm.
That's first. Now I also want to connect to my opponent. If I'm connected, then the person cannot move less rough. So it also protects me from that. So the first thing when I teach a technique is always okay, connect, feel, and how can I place my body in such a way that he has the least possibility of moving me. In jiu-jitsu, everybody's always thinking about how can I beat my opponent? How can I move my opponent? No. Jiu-jitsu is not about jiu-jitsu is in the first place not about how to solve the problem the person poses me. My first thing is how can I be a big problem for my opponent? And then when I'm a big problem for my opponent, if the person in front of me tries to solve it, by solving it, he usually creates problems for himself. He uses connection, and that's when I can attack. It's a weaker person, at least. The hardest people are people both be in a wall, you know, and it's like push pull in and out, and that's fun. That's sports. It's like advanced sports between two people. Well, it never happens on the street. Street is like putting against battering ram against battering ram, never putting versus putting, because
Yeah.
those people don't fight,
Yeah.
and just be a wall, you know, and then deviate whatever you need. Yeah, and
Okay.
so on training, so the first focus is always connect.
Connection.
Yeah, try to keep what you have.
The
Keep
frames.
what you have. So this is my principle in life, you know. Keep what you have.
Mm.
Accept that which is freely given. The person grabs your collar, keep the grip. Accept the hand. Accept what is freely given. If the person does take something away from you, try to keep what you have still, but don't run blindly behind it. Because if you run blindly behind it, you will lose even more if you overcommit.
Okay.
Because just know, if the person takes it away, okay, something else is gonna come back. And so keep what you have. Accept what is freely given. Try to keep what they take away from you, but don't run blindly behind it. Because just accept that something else is gonna come your way always when they take it away. And that's principle I follow in everything in life. Like I built from my gym from zero to where I am today. That's also how I try to roll.
Okay.
And the only time I break my rules, my own guidelines, would be in competition. I'm losing on points, like many points behind, and I have like 30 seconds to win. Then I
Battery.
have to then I have to go like in battering ram mode. Okay.
Okay.
And if I'm on the street and I was in a fight I couldn't avoid, and two people start kicking, punching me, and I have to get out, then it's also flight, you know, battering ram mode. But otherwise, be always a wall and try to follow your principles. You know.
That's really interesting the way you look at things and the transfer that you make. Because Rickson says, for example, that techniques is always something that you can apply in a box, but your concepts that you mentioned,
Of
the
course. Yeah.
connection, uh, keep what you have, and if something is taken from you, don't rush to take
No.
it back. And those principles apply in a role in the gym, but also in life, as you mentioned it, and that's makes the jiu-jitsu very really interesting in that sense. In this sense,
Mm-hmm. That is true. It's alive. It's alive, and it's the same for everybody, but not quite. And it's different for everybody, but also not really, because it's, you know what I mean. It's weird, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. But look, um, yeah. About what you said, like techniques in a box. Look, when I ask the average person, what are the fundamentals of jiu-jitsu? Average person will say, hip escape, scissor sweep, arm bar, triangle. Well, those are examples of very common high percentage techniques. But a
Mm.
technique is just an example of a properly applied concept.
Principle, yeah.
Yeah. So true fundamentals are connection, be tight, connect yourself, be tight, and then action reaction, feel the person. Okay. So proper posture, proper connection, and then mirroring. What is mirroring is just proper action reaction. It's very hard to explain the mirroring while talking. So
Yes.
the mirroring principle, I describe it always as like an algorithm that an algorithm that tells you how to move, when to move, how in relationship to your opponent's movement.
Mm.
Okay, that's it. And it's easier to explain when feeling. But
Yes.
at the very basic, it would be like this: in the street, if someone does not want to fight, and I go forward, hey, what's your problem? Then I'm not mirroring. Then I'm engaging.
Mm.
If you walk away from the mirror walks away from you.
Yes.
If you go close to the mirror goes close to you. So if you run behind someone in order to close a distance, the guy can keep jamming you. So when do you close distance? When the guy goes forward. When you break distance, when the guy goes away. So at its very core, at the very core, mirroring principle is control the distance and never be the first one to
To
change
move.
the distance.
Okay.
And if you do change distance, walk away instead of push him away. Walk close instead of pushing the guy close, pulling the guy close. So mirroring is about that. Distance control, moving yourself around your opponent instead of moving your person.
And again, it's applied in the realm of BJJ and in life also. You also talk in techniques that you never have to look your opponent. Always have to look away from your opponent.
Not always. But doing the
not,
correct hip in.
not
Think
always.
about it like this. Look, if you're doing weightlifting,
Yeah.
if we are doing weightlifting, what is moving? Our body or the weight?
Wow. Both.
Nope. No. No. No.
No, both.
No. The
Wait.
weight is moving in. The weight is moving in space,
Okay.
right? But our body is moving around the weight. You use our body to move the weight, but the weight itself does not bend, does not stretch. It's like the weight itself is immobile.
Okay.
And it's like saying this: if I do a push-up, am I pushing myself up or am I pushing the earth down? Which one is it? It's both.
But,
It's a matter of perspective. If
yes.
I jump, I go up, but the earth goes a tiny bit down.
Yes.
It's a matter of perspective. So the weight is not moving. I'm moving around the weight. I'm not trying to move the weight itself. If I'm fighting with my opponent, I'm trying to move around my opponent, right? And I can try to move. So connection is this: you connect with your partner and you become a unit, and you try your grips and connection and engagement. See, allow you to control the movement of that one unit that you have with your partner. And you can disengage and re-engage on moments that you feel favorable and transition when the guy moves and let him move and stop his movement again whenever you feel like that. That's what the control of the unit means.
Yes.
But it takes the randomness and the complexity out of the fight. Let's say
Okay.
it takes the chaos out of the fight.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking about this moving the weight. The weight doesn't move. You move around the weight. That's what's
Yeah.
okay. Well, yeah.
If I do a biceps curl, it's
Yes.
not like that, of course, but like I have the weight. You can even if I pull the weight up, it's actually the weight staying where it is in the universe and the earth and myself moving down. From an outside perspective, you cannot see the difference.
Yes.
That's just how physics work.
Yes. Of
It's
course.
always a matter of reference. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Wow, that's astounding. I will now want to come to the point of the belts in BJJ. The
yeah.
belts as a measurement
Belts.
of your level, or what do you think? What is your point? Should we be expecting a belt uh, because of our technique skills, or because of the length of our
Well,
training?
you know what the problem is with belts these days? There is no general consensus. Not
Okay.
every black belt is the same level. So not every black belt has um, the same I say guidelines, the same requirements for a belt. Then also not even between equally skilled black belts. Will there be the same emphasis? Some people will emphasize more on defense, some more on offense. So I focus more on like connection and again the certain principles. Yeah, like but in an ideal world, there should not be belts at all. I think. Yeah,
Why?
Chris Houghton said it in this. Like I really like Chris Houghton. He said this. He said you have to think about this at belts. Just means that at some point, someone in the world thought by himself in some kind of martial arts, start for himself. You know what? I deserve a black belt. From now on, I'm more than everybody else, and I want to show it. And that's what happened. And we are still bearing the fruit and suffering the consequences from that one guy who do make that decision. So it's a matter of hierarchy. You know, in a grappling, if you do a no-gi class,
Yes.
if you do a no-gi class, people will know exactly where they have to stand in line if you say go according to level. And even stand according to level. What nonsense is that, to be honest? Now I think about it. When I line up in the beginning of the class, I always let people line up according to belt. We're gonna stop doing that. I'm really gonna stop doing that. From now on, total chaos is allowed. You do not have to be in line. We're really gonna start implementing it from next week. You can stand whenever you like in the line because it does not matter. You know. So what is a belt? Well, for some people it's motivation, which I think is the worst kind of motivation. It's there is extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And
Yes.
if you need a belt to be motivated, it means you have extrinsic motivation. All good motivation comes from inside. You do it because you want to come better. You do it because you like it, and not because you want to get something certainly. And the same can be said about competition results. Competition results are extrinsic motivation. Unless you like to compete, then it's intrinsic motivation. You know? So, but do I have belts in my gym? Yes, I have belts. Why do I have belts? Tradition, I suppose. Why am I wearing a black belt? Well, tradition. I think I earned it in a way. And black looks better on all and everything. Like, black goes with everything.
Okay.
So, you know, it looks on a white gi, on a purple gi, on a pink gi. It always looks good. But this being said, look,
Yeah.
what is the other value of belts? That's the one value I think that people are allowed to fight competition according to skill level. Or me as a coach, I can think, okay, this guy is training so long, so I would give the belt. What I never give is stripes. I do not give stripes. I
Why?
refuse to give stripes because it's like I think it's an insult. It's like a pat on the back. Here you go, boy. Good job. Here is a stripe. Well, I got stripes in the past for a white belt alone. Oh, here. And I always felt it like an insult. Oh, nice. I get a pat on the back. So I'm good for a stripe, but not good for the next belt. Okay, good. So, yeah, no. And I think if, as like maybe for children, we give stripes, because
Okay.
children need a little bit of that.
For adults,
Maybe they don't.
only true
Maybe,
belts are allowed, not stripes or some things like that. Pat in the back. Okay.
yeah, like children are generally impatient. They need some extrinsic motivation, let's
Yes.
say. Like sometimes when the
That's a
intrinsic
different
motivation is
world,
not there,
of
we can
course.
have some intrinsic motivation to take the intrinsic motivation over for a while, artificially, let's say. But otherwise, no. For adults, I will never give a stripe.
Okay.
Stripes on the black belt. Well, Helio said something. I saw read an interesting view of Helio Gracie recently, and he says, "Look, um, belts are for level, yes, but stripes on their black belt, like grades, are for your level as a teacher." I said,
Yes,
"Look,
I
now,
totally
now I'm 70 years old or 80 years old, and I'm maybe wearing a red belt. I'm less good, less of a fighter I'm today
yes,
than I
yes.
was when I was a purple belt or a blue belt because I'm old and I'm like you cripple yourself when you get old, you know. But it's your measurement of how long you're training. Okay, how good of a teacher are you? But
Mm,
ultimately, it's also petting your own ego. That's what it is.
mm,
But this being said, what is my guidelines for a belt?
yes.
As a white belt, I think your goal is to have experience submissions, passes, sweeps, takedowns, everything.
Mm,
To a child phase. A child should not pick a certain game. It should experience freely.
okay.
Then Once you've experienced everything and you start to get like a general idea of the game, and you have proper fundamentals, so not spazzing, proper breathing, proper connection, proper proper connection, not going berserk, that's when you are a blue belt. Proper
You do
posture.
not mention any techniques at all.
No, no. Well, I do teach them techniques, but
Yes,
those
you
techniques
teach techniques,
are
but
just,
in your requirement as for example, as a belt, a blue belt, or I don't know, for the purple or brown belt, what that might be, but you require to have to dominate some concepts, not absorbing
well,
movements. No,
look, yes, but then again, you also need the structure and the tools to apply those concepts. Look, if I'm going to do my hip escapes in a vacuum or connect myself without anything testing my connection or my posture, then it's also senseless. So we do like positional rolling and you put techniques as a ways of you to express your understanding of the concepts, right?
yeah,
And which techniques you're going to use? Well, the higher percentage one, I would say higher percentage ones, which you can apply no matter what weight, and also apply on the street, 80% of that. And then 20% would be berimbolos and do the more fancy stuff, 80-20 rule and everything. You know the 80-20 rule, the
yes,
Pareto
Pareto,
principle.
Pareto
That,
principle. Yeah, yeah.
I really think it's a universal principle, or maybe not. Maybe it should be like 75-25 principle or 70-30. Who knows? I don't know
Mm.
where the guy got his numbers, but the idea stands. Put
Yes.
more of your time in high percentage thing and less of your time in the other thing, but do both. So 80% structure, 20% creativity, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, and then okay, as a blue belt, then it's your moment to get like an understanding of everything in the game. So white belt, get what's out there, and then as a blue belt, I think your mission should be know what to do in every position. In
Know what to.
every position. So
Mm.
be able to survive every position. Survival for sure. For sure, be able to safely attack from every position.
Mhm.
Right? So talked about this before, like last time. What do you learn first? Survival and defense
Yes.
or attacking?
Mm.
So last time you told me, I would
Survive.
say survival
Yes,
first.
but yeah.
But
No,
survival in effect,
I said defense, but
yeah,
survive.
you said survival. You said defense.
Yeah.
True. You said defense. And defense and survival is true. But
Yeah.
it's only valuable to defend if you have something to test it against. So
Yes.
it's like an arms race. You teach a bit of attack, the attack leads, and then
Mm.
the defense follows.
Yes.
And then the attack gets better, and the defense follows again until it stagnates out. And when we both have equal knowledge in the offense and the defense, then it's when it becomes a game. Jab, cross, cross, jab, in, out, in, mirroring. You know.
Mm.
So yeah. So and I would say if I have to choose between a skill, be able to tap everybody or be untappable, then I think the true superpower would be untappable.
Be untappable.
But you only do this with proper attacks. And the main reason why I would say attacks first is we need to be able to train safely. If
Mm.
I jerk arm bars or I pull chokes from the throat and everything, and I hurt people, that's dangerous. So if I can safely attack, safely, slowly, punch controlled, see, then I have like an environment, created an environment. Environment is always everything, an atmosphere of an environment where we can safely train, safely take risks.
Mm.
When I do an armbar, for example, I tell my people usually, don't tap before your arm is fully stretched. In my own gym, if you
Oh.
go abroad somewhere else, then tap. Like if the guy is going, if you don't trust the guy, tap very early. But in my gym, I teach people when the arm is completely stretched, don't put a lock, train control. Self-defense way more useful. And if you can keep a person's arm stretched for a reasonable amount of time, you can also break it. You know?
Mm.
What should we put locks with? Beginners put locks with their arms, and it's very uncontrolled. It's like pulling something out of the ground, you hit yourself in the face.
Yes.
But if you use your hips and your lats, and they can do it safely. They don't have to overextend. They can dose it and make it slow and steady with the proper pressure. So we create an environment of safety first, and then we train our defense to the extreme,
Okay.
and then we are able
Because
to
I got
extract.
used to tap very earlier because
No,
because
no, because where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line in tapping early? Should we tap here, 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 here? I don't know. Where should we tap? If we okay, you can say if I'm an arm bar, but I'm still holding my own collar. My arm is completely bent.
yeah,
Well, the guy pulls it hard enough, it's dangerous. So
yes,
should we tap there?
mm,
Well, if you're a light kid or a light person training with a berserker of a man with proper technique, then it's already dangerous there. But to
mm,
begin with, it's dangerous the moment you step on the mats.
yes, of course.
It's dangerous the moment you step on the mats. So why do we put a line? We put a line in the end. Brings us to the other thing. What do we teach first? End game or early game? Well, if you read the book of Scott Watkins, Scott Atkins, right?
To that kids,
You
yeah.
know,
Mm,
the whole art of learning.
yes,
Okay, in chess, first the end game, then the early game.
yes.
First pawn and king versus king, and then gradually add complexity by adding pieces.
Mm,
One of the most valuable YouTube videos on YouTube is about Scott Atkins teaching the guy of the name eludes me right now, but it's from the 4-hour work week. How to get as best jiu-jitsu in 1 week as possible. Focus on the end game because it's not complex. If you
mm,
cannot submit a person, then what use do you have in passing his guard and all that stuff?
yes.
In a sport environment, right?
Mm,
And if you um, and if you cannot defend like a choke, well, that's different.
mm,
Uh, if you can defend the last part, and you don't even have to worry about the early game either. Uh,
yes, perfect.
Bring us back to the first thing because I forgot something in the beginning. We talked what is the least valuable skill in jiu-jitsu? It's guard passing. Because like in everyday life, there is almost never a need in everyday life to pass someone's guard. There's a reason to maintain distance to get away, to stay standing, to be able to fall when you get thrown, to get back on top. But once we're on top, we can always run away. So rarely is there the need to pass someone's guard. Maybe only if someone is in your house, want to control him while you call the cops. Yes, but for proper own self-defense without any people there, then it's not so important. As a
Mm,
cop who has to like arrest people, or as a soldier, or like a professional
yes.
fighter, or like a professional security person, or the service sector, then yes, then there is value for this. Okay, belts. So blue belt. Fill out the game, fill out the gaps, know everything what to do. Um, set the general game, able to survive from everywhere,
Mm,
and attack safely. Then purple belt. Once you have the beginning of a game, so
mm,
by the end of blue belt, you should have like a certain area in the game where you feel yourself really good.
mm,
Can be half guard, can be double underpassing as a sports guy perspective.
mm,
And I would say, okay, um, let me think. Now it should be purple belt should be about perfection of the game. A late purple belt should be able to put me in danger if I'm into his game, and should also be able to put me into his game. Right?
okay.
It's a purple belt. A
Mm,
brown belt. So once you have like the perfect game, let's say, then you're a brown belt. The brown belt is a belt of perfecting everything in theory. Because everything is like gray areas. Right? It's overlaps. You know, part of your game is already built as a white belt, but this is like how I see it in my head. So as a brown belt, your whole goal is to perfect everything. As a brown belt, going to black belt, you should be able to put everybody into danger everywhere and be able to defend and keep your calm everywhere. And that's just a matter of putting your time, and then you're a black belt. What is the goal of a black belt to the first degree? I don't have a clue. But what I do know, I learned more of jiu-jitsu from now until my third degree. Now I'm second degree black belt. I'll learn more of jiu-jitsu in the last 3 years, in the last 6 years, even the last 3 years. I learned in all those years before. for sure.
Mm.
Because I learned jiu-jitsu the wrong way. I learned jiu-jitsu technique, 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 example, 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 example. And I never got taught the proper basics. Take your posture. But what is posture? It was never, always say, keep your posture. But it was never properly taught. What is posture? You know? Oh, posture bottom, man. I never heard anyone talk to me about posture bottom. You know? My postures now, the baby bridge, the rock bottom, those things, that is how to do the process of bottom. And that is everything. Fitness is first. Posture, 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 and breathing. Jiu-jitsu is first. Posture, 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 and breathing. So now, belts from a self-defense perspective.
Yes.
I believe that as a white belt, you come in new. So your goal is as a blue, like I say, I think every blue belt should be able to defeat every average untrained person of his own weight and below, and should be able to survive for at least 2 minutes against every average untrained person of a higher weight, I believe.
Okay.
What does this mean? Well, if I weigh 70 kilos, I should be able to hold myself my own against like an 85 kilo guy for at least 2 minutes and be able to defeat everybody below my weight, even if I make the mistakes. Then now if I meet like a professional quarterback weighing 120 kilos pure muscle, that's not an average person. And the chance I'm going to encounter a person like that, that's pretty slim as well. As a purple belt, brown belt, black belt. I think black belt is more already about maturity, about how to avoid the fight, how to keep your calm everywhere. That's what I learned mostly. Patience. Yeah. So in self-defense, why do we need belts in self-defense? Why do we need that? Blue belt is important. It's like a guideline of, okay, now you know how to hold yourself your own against most people in the world. I read a cool quote recently. The first year of jiu-jitsu is how to learn how to defend yourself against everybody in the world. And then the rest of your life is learn to beat jiu-jitsu. That's a very nice quote.
That's a very nice quote. Yes. Wow, that's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Well,
Great.
that's a good explanation of your belt and the belt system according to your point of view. It's I think that's a very good point also to put clarity between the sport and self-defense and also the principles and
Uh-huh.
that are more important than techniques because you also talk about your experience. And if I consider your experience, do you think, for example, because you said you learned first the wrong way, technique, example, but by giving to someone today the right principles first, do you think that would more accelerate his process of learning, or
Definitely.
what do you think?
Definitely. It makes it safer for sure. If you make it safer, people are less likely to drop out. In the
Okay.
past, my first 10 years of jiu-jitsu was
Yes.
always 5 people, 6 people, 10 people. Nobody stuck to it. Only like
Oh, there
yeah,
you
yeah, you disappeared. So until when did you hear me?
are. I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
now I hear you again. Yeah. I think I
okay.
have a connection problem. I switched to 4G. So what is the
Okay.
last thing you heard me say? My explanation.
Yes, it was about the people. In the past, you used to train in an environment with 5, 10 people, and they were
Yeah,
always
because people get injured, it would be for the tough, And now
yeah,
it's more for everybody. Not
yeah,
everybody's gonna be the best competitor in the world, but
mm,
everybody should be able to at least achieve the minimum of holding yourself your own against most people in the world. That's
mm,
achievable. That's
yeah,
achievable because most people in the world are below average. Let's say that. Well, no, average. No, that doesn't make sense. Most people in the world are average because otherwise, not be average. But it doesn't make sense. But I mean, most people are not trained fighters.
yes, of course. Mm. So today it's about the environment setting.
With the best 99.9999999% of people in the world who know how to fight. I
Mm.
might be the, I even might be the shittiest black belt in the world, but I'm still better than all those other ones. And even as a blue belt, you're
Yes.
still better than all those people who don't. Well, better fighter these and all those people who don't train.
Mm.
There's physique, of course. So I think everybody should be doing some weightlifting. Do some strength training, just for your own safety and to learn how to move your body properly. You
Okay.
see?
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Vim, you
Yeah.
you you seem to have a lot of experience in fighting, in teaching, in BJJ, and even in philosophy. What do you
Awesome.
expect now from BJJ? What do you expect?
For myself,
Yes,
for the
for
world,
yourself, for yourself.
for myself,
Yes.
man. Order and chaos, right? Order and
Yeah.
chaos. Life is chaotic.
Yes.
For me, jiu-jitsu was my only certainty I ever had in life.
Okay.
I always loved it. I always loved it. The moment I stepped on the mats, I always love it. And I'm thinking even about before I started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know, like
Mm.
oh, we were living on a stony rock in the middle of the universe, speeding through the cosmos at 30,000 miles an hour.
Yes.
It's a scary thought. You cannot go think about too much. In life, so many things can happen. But at the
Yes.
basic, if I'm happy and I go to the Mets, I'm even happier. And if I have a shitty day and I'm feeling bad, I go to the Mets, I can focus on that. You know,
Mm.
like I had some family members like dying this year. Uh,
Mm.
two of my uncles.
Mm.
Well, I was quite close with one of them. I was very close, and that
Okay.
was hard. But
Mm.
even after the funeral, I went straight training. I was sad, was very sad. But you go to training and it just made of like, okay, you move on. You don't move on. You don't forget. But but at least let me be comfortable in my own self. You know what I mean? You
Yes.
cannot change what comes out.
Yes.
So for me, jiu-jitsu teaches you. That's what it is. Teaches you to be comfortable in the uncomfortable,
Mm.
and teaches you to control what you can control. I'm a
Mm.
bit of a control freak, definitely am. But because if I have too much, let's say, if I'm in my house and there is too much cluttering, too much stuff around, I get like anxiety a bit. So I have to focus on my breathing. So I'm more calm on the mat than I'm in everyday life. Of sometimes,
Okay.
so, everybody's just problems. That's my problem in that aspect. But at least I imagine, look, if I have like a discussion with my wife, I imagine Wim. Sometimes I want to, let's say, have a discussion, and sometimes you raise your voice against your wife, and she raises her voice back, and it escalates. So you say, okay, man, look, because what happens if you're in mountain, you push, you get more tired, and
Yeah.
costs more energy.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to let the person come. So I think like in a relationship, I imagine, okay, man, I'm in a discussion with my wife here, or with whatever person, and it's not comfortable, and maybe I cannot convince a person to be right, but I can maybe convince myself I'm not wrong, not winning, but not trying to lose.
The
And
whole principle.
yeah, I just realize it's myself. That's really cool, actually. It's really cool. I really got a good insight now. In a discussion, it's not necessarily always convince the other guy you are right. Just convince yourself you're not wrong. That's cool, eh? Unless you're wrong, of course. Unless you're wrong,
Unless you're wrong,
then you
yes.
have to be able to change your view as well.
Okay.
But if you cannot convince yourself in a discussion, if you cannot convince you at least yourself you're not wrong, then
Then
you're
you
not
have to
right.
examine your
Then if
proper
you change
person.
your mind, this is
Yeah.
so cool. From now on, a discussion. From
Okay.
now on, the discussion is gonna be not about convincing the person I'm right. It's
Mm.
gonna be convincing myself I'm not wrong. That's really smart of myself. That's cool.
I think
Maybe
so.
I
I
want.
think so. I think so. But it's more conceptual. So when you talk about what you expect from the BJJ, it's a part of wisdom that you've acquired from your years of training of living in your universe, because BJJ is all what was certain for you. You said. Can you hear me? Ah, I've lost your. I can't hear you.
I hear you. Yeah, talk.
Ah,
So
okay.
I heard wisdom. Yeah. I think there's something wrong with my modem.
Okay.
Have a talk. I can talk at the same time. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So yes, I was telling you that most of the things that you've acquired are translating now into some kind of wisdom from BJJ. Uh,
Yeah.
it does it mean that you do not expect so many things from technical views or technical aspect in BJJ? Doesn't mean that you
Well,
have ceased
well,
to grow technically
no,
wise
no.
on the
I,
mats
I, I'm growing exponentially. I think in a way, like I
exponentially.
learn. No, not that's not true. But like I learn more now in the last 6 years, or like I got a deeper understanding. Let's say in the last 6 years than I did in the beginning. So
What
it's like
what can you tell me as an example of that? What you've understood now that you didn't
okay.
understand
Let
in
me
the
tell
past,
let me
for
tell you
example?
this. Let's
Yes.
say you're doing fitness your whole life. Your
Yes.
whole life you're lifting weights. And
Yes.
after 10 years you say, you know what, man? If you keep your back straight, your squat is gonna be better. And your lunge is gonna be better. And your biceps are gonna be better. And all those things. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay.
So by making small postural adaptations,
Mm.
it's like I've fought for my whole life with big heavy boots of 90 kilos on my feet. And every part of what I'm saying I got takes like a bit of that boot away. And now I feel more I'm free. More.
Okay.
Completely.
Mm.
So that's what so mostly I got like a better, deeper understanding of the fundamentals.
Okay.
Then technique itself. So let's say berimbolo and spider guard and all those things. And for me, it's just ways to keep it fun. Right now I'm investing time in color sleeve, like in open guard. I didn't do it for many years, of course, because of my fingers. My fingers are a bit better for the moment, so I'm investing a lot of time in open guard.
Mm.
Not because I think I need it. Maybe I need it, but just because it's interesting to keep it fun. Because now I
Okay.
feel like a white belt for a bit, and that's what I like to have like the feeling, man, I don't know this stuff. So and now I'm because like something like I was really bored a bit the last 3 weeks. Now no, the last week now I started with this, and man, now it's like a whole new world opening for me. I had some.
Yes.
Actually, I did play it in the past a bit, but I didn't touch that particular part of my game. Let's say for like
Okay.
6 7 years. That's so interesting,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Like invest bigger time on it. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. That's wonderful. I think we've gone through a lot of things. I have to process everything. Like I said, last time you mentioned a lot of things that you're on the line today. I'm thinking about the principles and the connection as the main point to begin with, for the beginners, for example.
I remember one thing to talk about the topic.
Yes.
We also already mentioned it today. It's not because you're doing BJJ, you're doing jiu-jitsu. Remember?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a striking. Yes. Yes, you
I
said
would
that
like to
last time.
explain.
You said not all the BJJs are doing actually BJJ because of hard training, etc. You
Yeah,
mentioned the problem of efficiency.
yeah.
It should
The
be
thing is,
efficient, aesthetic.
jiu-jitsu is soft art, arte suave, minimal effort, maximum efficiency. Is that
Yes.
the true definition? I don't care if it's a true definition. It's the definition I put for it for myself.
Mm,
Minimal effort, maximum efficiency,
mm,
longevity. Being able to do it for the rest of my life.
mm.
So if you're doing BJJ in the wrong way,
Yes.
okay, let's say you're a competitor and you're using steroids and you're getting super big, but at what cost? At cost of your ligaments. So you're doing maximal effort and you're doing maximal effort and quite efficient, which
Mm,
might avenge itself in the long run. So
yes.
minimal effort, maximum efficiency. And also, if you're doing boxing, you can do jiu-jitsu while doing boxing. I mean, if you're doing boxing, you do minimal effort, maximum efficiency. Like for my example from boxing is Mayweather. Mayweather is doing jiu-jitsu.
Mm.
He probably never, maybe never wore a kimono in his life, or he probably did. But like,
That's a really nice image. Yeah.
yeah, but he's doing jiu-jitsu. What does he do? Defensive. Let the guy come, tire him out, safety. I call him boring sometimes, man. It's for me. It's like super cool how a person like that can do it. You know. Some people are cursing on this fight of Mayweather against McGregor. That was interesting, man. That was super interesting. Okay,
Yes.
it was boxing. It's like a less of a whole fight, like McGregor said it.
Mm.
But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If you play chess, it's also nothing real. It's also like a certain, well, like even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Look, what is BJJ? Or we define it now most of the time as the IBJJF rules.
Yes.
IBJJF rules are nothing more than a set of rules. What does rule create? Rules create a certain environment
Mm.
for certain reasons in which we can compete. It can be safety. It can be spectacularity. Like for viewing. It can be many
Exactly.
things.
Yes.
But rules do not define jiu-jitsu. Rules create environments where we can do jiu-jitsu. What is the difference between boxing and jiu-jitsu? What is the difference between BJJ and boxing? The rules.
Rules.
Yeah, it's a game.
It's
It's
a
just
game.
a game. What is a very concept of a game? Someone wants to win and
Someone
the other needs to lose. Right? And how do we do this? That changes.
rules. Yeah.
Okay, brings us to another thing. Look, sports jiu-jitsu. Look, in boxing, you give a punch like that.
Yes.
In jiu-jitsu, we're not allowed to punch.
No.
In sports jiu-jitsu, we're allowed to grip. The
Yes.
grip is the same motion as the punch.
Mm.
It's a hand moving towards you.
Yes.
A less dangerous hand, but still a hand nonetheless.
Mm.
What is a choke? A choke for me in jiu-jitsu, like a collar choke, is a simulation of a slow punch to my face, which I have slowly time to react to.
Mm.
The motion you need to do, like the baby bridge that you do to deflect the choke, the same thing you'll be doing, like doing this, will be the same move you make, maybe to slip a punch in some times.
Mm.
So it's all the same. What is the single red line in all sports? What is a single thing that all arts have in common? Even
Arts.
painting, even music. Yeah. What is a single thing that all arts or all human activity has in common?
They need some environment.
The one thing that all human activity has in common, it's done with a human body.
Ah.
Right? So in everything you do, strive to use your own body with minimal effort, maximum efficiency. You know,
And that's it.
jiu-jitsu is like a language. You know, so like a language, let's say. Okay, if like look, if you learn a language, if you learn a language in the beginning, that's very complex. There is words, there is grammatics, there is so many things.
Yes.
Now, okay, let me start like this. You start jiu-jitsu as a white belt. How many years are you training now, jiu-jitsu?
3.
3 years.
4.
Is jiu-jitsu today more complex or less complex for you?
Less complex. Yes.
And you're very fortunate, because for most people it becomes more and more complex because I add more techniques.
No, I've surrendered the idea of technique. I've switched. When I considered technique, it was embarrassing, so complex. I had headaches, etc. When I gave up onto that and stuck to concepts, that became much more clear.
Okay, so look, in jiu-jitsu, look, let's for a second define posture, weight distribution, patience, breathing, define vocabulary as actual techniques like arm bars, triangle, sweeps, and passes, right? So if you focus always more vocabulary, more words, then often you're gonna, if you keep doing that, you're gonna make it so complex, right?
Yeah.
But if you focus on a certain number of words and then the grammatics, then it gets easy. So how does a child learn a language? First grammatics or first vocabulary? What would you say?
I would say mimetics. He have some skeleton, some grammatics rule, very basic rules, and then he threw in some.
But in the beginning, look, like, if you want to have fun with the sport, you need some ways to attack and defend. Like that's the beginning. At the beginning, you teach him a little bit of attacks or defenses, you know, and then you add grammatics. Because it's a person like a little bit of words. Let's say I speak English without grammatics, and I tell you, me, you talk today, interview.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, I pretty expressed what we did today, you know.
Yes.
But or bakery bread by me. Okay. Well, people will understand something like that.
Yes.
But you're not going to be able to convince people if it's more deep. You're not going to have deep conversations, and you're not going to have able to convince people if it's more on a specific topic. But it's good to have fun with the language like that in the beginning. So I would say teach a little bit of vocabulary in the beginning.
Yes.
Right? And then learn all those boring grammatics, right? Which can take 1-2 years. And then when you have the grammatics, you keep adding words that you need. How many words do you need? Well, for everyday life, the estimate is I think 2,000.
Yes.
Right? That's for like the basic, right? And then after that, we need chaos. What chaos do we need? Well, then you have to download certain specific vocabulary for certain environments. If I'm going to work for in the stock market,
language,
I'm able to have to need the proper words for the stock market. If I'm going to be a public speaker, okay, then I need, well, about that topic, you know, like, so it depends. If I'm talking
nutrition
like,
or health,
like vocabulary, So what is jiu-jitsu? Look, jiu-jitsu, you need like a little bit of moves in the beginning.
So what is the grammatic of jiu-jitsu?
Well, I'm getting there. Look, grammatics is posture, weight distribution, patience, connection for sure. So those things, pressure, right? So you give a little bit of fun, and then a lot of grammatics, right? And then which techniques do you download? Which vocabulary do you download? Well, if I'm happen to be in Mount, I have to download into my brain that particular set of transitions that need to happen there. We're using the same grammatics. So the red line is always my own body using my grammatics. If I'm in side control, it's these things. If I'm in close guard, it's these things. If it's so every certain position has like its own set of transactions that can happen. And always in the beginning I thought jiu-jitsu is limitless. Jiu-jitsu is not limitless. Grips are limitless. Ways to connect bodies might be limitless, but broad positions, we always come back in the same things over and over and over and over and over again, right? Always over and over and over again.
Which are numerable. You mean we always come
Yeah.
to a set of positions that are numerable, you mean?
Yeah, well, certain combinations are limitless.
Yes.
Like sweep, back, forward, left, right, up, down. Yeah, like the order, like in boxing, how many techniques are there? Jump, cross, hook, uppercut,
Yes.
slip, slip. You know, you have a limited set of fundamental moves, but I can make sentences with those. So
Yeah.
the amount of words is limited, but I can structure those words in a specific sentence, but I still have creativity and freedom in intonation and how to put it in a certain order a little bit, right? That's the creativity and the chaotic part, right? But still, what was I saying now? We've been talking for a long time, then I start to lose the thread a bit. But okay, but me making my
Wow. Hey, no, I can't hear
hello.
you. Yeah.
So a sentence like I go to school would be the same thing as grip, grip, hip escape, using my center to sweep him, you know, like connection to sweep. So it would be, it's just a sentence is just fundamental, 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 fundamental building block after each other, you know.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yes. Now I can
Yeah.
hear. There was a little bit.
I really hope you recorded this interview completely. I really hope you recorded it. Great, awesome. Double check.
I have
Good.
everything. I have everything.
So,
Everything is said because I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate all what you
I
said
love it. I
to
love
me.
it.
I don't know, maybe.
We can always we can always do this even again next time. You know, every time we talk, it will be a little bit of a different conversation. So
Yes, of
we
course,
can.
and I appreciate it a lot. I mean, if you have time next time, if you have, I'm planning maybe one day I will come. Not very, maybe soon I will come to Belgium and I will see
Huh?
you in person.
Would be nice. Would be awesome.
Yes.
You would be always most welcome. You know. And if
Yes.
I haven't, and if I ever, well, I actually been there already. But if I plan to go to Nice again,
Oh,
then
la,
I will contact you as well. I'm gonna
la.
charge my cell phone for a second because my battery is about to die. But,
Okay,
yeah, so
that's awesome. So I've recorded everything, and I don't know. Maybe you have something to say in French.
en français,
Oui.
pour le français. Ouais, peut-être la prochaine fois, nous pouvons faire une interview en français aussi.
Ah bon? Ah oui, avec
Ouais, c'est possible. Ouais.
avec
Ok. Pour les gens en français, apprends anglais et maintenant tu peux comprendre tout ce que j'ai dit aussi. Ouais. Plus que ça, ouais, ouais, j'espère comment dire, à la France, ouais, il a un très bon niveau de jiu-jitsu aussi. Ouais.
Hmm.
Et j'espère maintenant qu'avec l'interview aussi, que aussi les gens francophones
Oui.
vont faire son mieux pour comprendre ce que j'ai dit. Ouais. Et comme ça que je peux contribuer un petit part de moi-même aussi à la, à la, à la, à l'environnement jiu-jitsu francophone. C'est ça. Merci.
Fantastic. Yeah, there are so many things that you've thrown out there. I'm going to discuss it with all the people here, and I'm going to show. I'm going. I'm going to make two versions of it, an English version and a French version. I'm going to translate everything.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh yes, I have to do that because there's so many good things that you say.
Uh, uh, thank you, thank you.
So
Yeah.
I have to do that. So uh, I will release the English version. I mean, really quickly, but the French one, I need some time to process all of this because
Of course, of course, of course, of course. Yeah.
yes. And next time we're gonna hold it. I mean, online or maybe they will have some requirements and some. In my gym, they will have some questions, etc. And I will come back to you and
Of course, of course.
tell you about
Would
that.
would 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 be my pleasure. You know, it's like win-win. You know,
Yes.
I think I try to the free content I put out. I try to help people. That's one thing. At the
Mm,
same time, I it spreads my name as well, right? And
of
then
course.
and the thing. So that's how I do it. Yeah.
Yes. What do you plan to have another Globetrotter seminar soon or somewhere?
Of course, like I already planned. I already booked my ticket. I'm gonna go to Estonia in next month, and in Poland, and in October I'm gonna go to Poland to the Zen camp again.
Okay.
But I have many things coming up. Like next week, I'm gonna be in Cyprus for 5 days. It's gonna be a private seminar
Okay.
for one gym there. I have next month. I have the BJJ summer camp. It's called, I think.
Okay. I can
Hello.
hear. I Yes, I can hear
Yeah.
you now.
I'm gonna be teaching in Greece next month.
Okay.
Right before I go to Estonia, I'm going to be in Ukraine again to teach. Maybe in Kiev, and for sure in Ivano-Frankivsk. I'm going to be teaching. Where else am I going to be teaching? In Germany, I have a camp, and
Okay.
that's it. I usually book myself like 3 months up front. I don't try like to compromise myself. The only thing I've booked already for 1 year because it was really good last time is in December. The lateral thinking lateral thinking camp in Germany with me and Brit and Octavio Couto. That is already booked. But otherwise, I don't like to book myself too much in advance.
And where is
Like
it in Germany?
in Hanau
Oh, no. Okay.
and Next Level MMA. It's a gym. That was good
Is it
last time.
open to everyone or is it
Yeah,
some?
of course, it's open. Yeah, it's open. It's an open camp. It's a very
Okay.
special kind of camp.
Okay.
Different. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a thinking tank more.
I'm having Prit also on Tuesday an
Yeah,
interview.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's gonna be interesting as well. I'm gonna be listening
Yes,
to
and
speak.
also Matt Thompson from SBG.
Yeah. Oh,
From
cool.
yes, and I'm really happy that you give me this opportunity. I feel blessed.
And I feel honored and blessed that you give me the opportunity to uh to listen to my talking.
It's
I mean, I don't
very
mind to hear myself talking. I like quite like I like listening to myself. But it's I appreciate you take
you
the time to listen to me as well.
educate, you inspire, you question, you intrigue, you do everything at the same time. It's uh, very inspiring to have a talk with you because so many things happen at the same time. You see,
Great.
information, education, questioning,
Uh,
everything. It's art. It's chaotic. It's art.
art, yeah. Art is important. Art is everything. Yeah?
Yes, it's
That's the thing with
magnificent.
order and chaos. Too much order and there is no art because then the art is dead. Then it's just copying. And too much chaos, there is also no art. Like even in abstract, the most chaotic form of art, there's still a lot of structure. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that with him. That's really nice. It's touching. I'll come back to you.
Of course, man. Of course, my pleasure. Can I say one more thing? Maybe like I would like to thank my
Yes, of course,
sponsors.
of
So
course.
my sponsors are my longest time sponsor is Booster Fight Gear, my long time friend. Who also I gave his black belt recently. So also like to thank A Taste of the Amazon. It's like my assay sponsor.
Okay.
Yoga for BJJ, which helped me keep me on the mat and helped me fix my hernia. So that's
Mhm.
also a very good thing. And
Can you
then BJJ.
can you
Sorry?
send me some links? I will put
Yeah,
them.
I will. I will. I will.
Okay.
Yeah. Then
Okay.
BJJ Fanatics before we
Oh,
go
he
the
did it for
opportunity.
Bernardo.
Yeah, Bernardo Ferrer and Michael Zenga, yeah, who gave me the opportunity to fill in my instructionals and I can make some extra with that and spread my name. That's also a
Okay.
good thing.
Mm.
BJ Globetrotters, Christian Grogert, for giving me the opportunity to go to his camps, to teach at his camps, and really allowed me to put my name out there. You know, he's like a person I really like, really respect a lot, and is a great example, I think.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
so, yeah, that would be it. And the people at my gym here, Brazza, Belgium, that also, of
Brazil,
course,
Belgium, yes.
and the bigger team of Brazza, Felipe Costa, my coach. So that would be the people I would like to thank, and my wife, Yara, and my daughter, Yeva, as well, of course, and my parents. So,
Magnificent, Wim. That was a real pleasure to talk to you. I'll come back to you, and I'm having fun having those conversations. I respect your time. I know we can go on and on because you have so many good things.
I actually have to go because I have another in 1 hour. I'm meeting people for a podcast. So
Okay.
hour.
So you need to rest a bit. Okay.
My brain, and I need some sugar now for the brain. So,
Thank
Serge,
you
thanks a
so
lot.
much. Thank you so much. Hein.
À la prochaine fois. Merci beaucoup.
Avec plaisir, avec plaisir. Merci, merci Wim. Merci à toi. Merci.